Now what you're all really here for, I want to introduce our incredible speaker today, Phil Simpson. So this is, right on for Phil Simpson. And I already told him this, but just talks about the power of our reputations preceding us, right? Sometimes it feels weird to say that, but we know it's so true. Today is the first day I have met Phil, but I can't even count the number of times I have heard from people that I know well or strangers to me of how kind, how talented, how generous, how sweet that Phil Simpson is. So it's an honor that he is here. We are so glad that he gets to share his wisdom and experience with us. But just a little bit about him. Phil Simpson has been asking the world to smile more since 2012. The Detroit-based artist and public speaker has painted more than a dozen murals for Murals in the Market, Quicken Loans, ACLU, and the city of Detroit, and he's commissioned artwork for some of the world's best-known brands. Simpson paints brightly colored smiling faces meant to spread positivity and kindness. At the center of his work is a yin and yang representing the duality of lightness and darkness. A lowercase I can be found in the whites of the eyes. For the artist, the appetizing titles add to the joy he seeks to spread. Please give it up for Phil Simpson.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for being here today. Great introduction. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you guys for having me. All week, my wife and I have been talking about how you're going to spend your 20 minutes, how you're going to make sure you engage with the audience and make sure you leave a message that's powerful and hopefully encouraging to spread joy and kindness. And we're going to start off with 2007. 25-year-old, I had just left Atlanta. I had moved there for a couple of years. Starving artist down in Atlanta for a couple of years. I went to U of M and I thought, ooh, let's go to Atlanta, you know? I ended right back here in Detroit. And part of my journey, part of the best part of moving to Atlanta is I moved to Lawrenceville, Georgia, which is maybe 20 minutes up. And I think it's important to start here because the Smile brand, the Smile mission was born from another brand. My first company was called Freshman Clothing. And just imagine a 21-year-old came up with this idea. It took me 4 to 5 years to print my first shirt. A lot of procrastination, a lot of doubt, a lot of friends, man, you don't know anything about fashion or t-shirts, and I didn't. And come 2007, I printed 50 shirts, passed out 25 to a lot of skaters. I thought I was gonna have my own skate team. And sold 25, then redid it over a few times. And we opened up our first store in 2009. And I think it's important to start here because I was one of the first flagship clothing stores downtown Detroit. This is before Quicken, and this is CompuWare days where at 9:00 p.m. there was nothing to do downtown. And so this is 2009, and Freshman was about being fresh. Fresh shoes and fresh clothes. It was all about being fly, and I started painting a lot of smiles. I mean, my sketchbook was full of smiles. And I'm telling myself, I think I have something here, but I already got a company. I'm already doing Freshman, but this smile stuff keep reoccurring. I'm dreaming about it, I'm sketching about it, and I'm like, man, what about the person who's not really interested in being fresh all the time or stylish? What about the humanity part of this? What about the person who just want to wake up and spread some joy or find some joy? Because sometimes we have those dark clouds. And so out of the blue, I say, oh my goodness, while I'm running one company, I say, I'm dreaming about this. I have to start another company right now. And so I start, at the time it was called Smiling Faces. But if any of us know the famous song, whenever I hear the song Smiling Faces, it's not quite about something positive. It's about smiling faces, they tell lies, and I'm like, man, this might not get the message across. And so then we said smile. Something we all know is called the Smile brand. This is around 2010, and I was still nervous again to print my first shirt. A friend of mine surprised me. He printed my shirt, and he said, hey, look, dude, you talk about this every day. You talk about smiling. His name is James Morris. He used to own DSC. He's an amazing artist now. But he said, hey, man, do it. You got to do it. And so here I am, 2 companies, and out of the blue, because of not understanding business, not understanding how things work. Freshman Clothing was open every day of the week. This is your audience. Producers, rappers, young MCs, young fashion designers, and then we may get a couple Tigers fans, but they're buying our shirts. And what am I doing with the money? I'm putting it back into the shirts, but I'm buying hot and readies for everybody. I think I'm balling. I'm hot and readies, right? Like, man, let's get like 10 hot and readies, let's feed everybody, because you grew up wanting to feed the block. Within 2 years, my store closed. It took me many years to take accountability of that. I was blaming investors, or I was blaming other people, and I had to look in the mirror. And I thought I was a failure until I realized that this is a part of the journey. I started studying more entrepreneurs. I started working with small business incubators. So my first at the time was Beehive. Then you went to Tech Town. I started taking these small business classes, made my first business plan. I thought I was already a business owner. I said, damn, I never made a business plan before. I just had an idea. So now the Smile brand is here. We're selling t-shirts, but I knew I wanted my message to be seen in the neighborhoods where kids walking to school. If I can't get shirts on the kids, I said, man, I really want to paint murals in the inner cities. And I was telling someone here today that I grew up scared to do graffiti. I've never been a graffiti artist. I never wanted to let my mother down. So I was always afraid that if you do art outside, you get arrested. Until muralists, close friends of mine, taught me, like, yo, dude, okay, that's graffiti. That's in the middle of the night. That's a bad, We think you should do murals with your work. So at the time, I'm painting smiles on a lot of small canvases, and I'm handing them out for free. I can remember times in CompuWare in downtown Detroit, I'll take out 25 paintings, and just imagine a young black male downtown Detroit before the boom, and I'm like, hey, I got these free paintings. Would you like? Have you smiled today? And it's like, no, I don't have any money. I'm like, oh no, I'm not. I would like to give you. No, I don't want anything. I'm like, oh, this is harder than I thought to give away free smiles. And so I tried it again. I tried a different message, and I didn't have the question part of it. I'll make eye contact. I'll wear my smile shirt, and I'm like, hey, I would love to give you this free painting. Someone can say yes or no, but there's people out there with paintings of mine way before the grow part. It was just, hey, I just want to spread this message. Would you like a free shirt, free painting? And so that's how I got the ball rolling, right? And so I started doing murals, and it changed my life. It changed my life. From what I've been told, it changed others. Here's what I want you to leave with today. The power of smiling. The power of spreading joy. And especially when there's nothing to smile about. Imagine those days where it's tough. You lost someone in your family, because we've all been there. Financially, things might not be quite where you want it. And how do you respond to that, right? And so I've been training myself to still walk outside and help that lady across the street. Or open that door for this family. Or you need help, I got you. Just that kindness, I had to leave today knowing that the message of smile does not mean you need to smile all the time. I never want you to think that I'm unrealistic with this message, because I know there's times where, like, dude, I just can't smile right now. There's just a lot going on. But, the sun's going to shine tomorrow. I do believe that we are the energy we put out there. And so with the paintings, with the clothes, with the message, I'm always encouraging you to spread joy, to be kind. But then, when you think about joy and kindness, what does it all mean? You just want to be treated you just want to treat someone like you want to be treated. And then if you don't want to be treated well, think about someone you love dearly, right? Because I had to think about this. I was talking to a young man one day, a young man, maybe 17, and I spent a lot of time in the inner city, meaning I'm from 7 Mile and Hoover. I caught the Gratiot to 7 Mile bus well after I was married. I look forward to talking to you in a second about my lovely family that I'm so proud of. My wife met me with no license. She met me with a dream. And I said, girlfriend at the time, I said, hey, look, I don't know how I'm going to provide all these nice things that you used to, but I think I'm the guy for you, You know how you trying to date. I'm trying to. The young kids say Riz. You guys, has anybody heard the term Riz? So I do after-school programs every Tuesday at Detroit Achievement Academy, and last semester, the young lady says, Mr. Phil, do you Riz your wife? I was like, what is Riz? And she's like, you got game? You ask her out? I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, I learned a new term. So, I met my wife at a time where I just had a dream. I really just had a dream. I said, hey, I have a clothing company. I look forward to being this big artist one day. And she's like, okay, I like your drive, but I got a daughter. Like, I need somebody stable. I'm like, well, just give me I'm gonna be stable one day. And she, we it all worked out. We've been married 7 years, together 12. And I wanted to mention family because it's so important to me to inspire others to spread joy, because that's all I strive for in my household, right? We want to wake up every morning. I have a 6-year-old and I have a 23-year-old. When I got in my wife's life, she had a 10-year-old. And this is coming from a guy who was afraid to date someone with a kid. I'm like, oh man, I cuss, I'm out here trying to make it. I don't know if I'm ready to step in and out. And guess what, guys? The best thing that ever happened to me. This kid is my baby. She calls me dad. This is my daughter. 13 years. She's in grad school at Syracuse. And we talk like homies. She's an adult. She's like, Dad, you won't believe. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, talk to me. All right, I'm not gonna cash out you there. It's so powerful to have a 23-year-old, and then within the same breath, you got a 6-year-old like, Dad, mommy go to work every day. Like, she go to a place. Like, what do you do? So I told my wife I was going to tell that story today, because imagine a child not understanding entrepreneurship or not understanding that her dad is a painter, but I do get paid for this, baby. She's like, but you do murals, like you paint all the time. Like, do you have a job? I was like, well, Daddy, when I go to these meetings, when I do these murals, when I'm out, that's work, baby. Sometimes when you're with me at these events, we're getting paid, like this is work. She's like, but what's your job? You know, so I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so hard to explain to a 6-year-old, but we're working on it, you know? And so I know I only had 20 minutes, but I just wanted to talk about the power of smiling. I wanted to talk about how important family is to me, and I also want to touch base on things that I think we all go through. Here I am, artist, muralist, and coloring books coming soon, you know, shout out, you know, Maze, you'll know about that soon. There are times where the household is all over the place, you know? There are times where Journey don't really feel like doing her homework. I don't feel like reading to her. There are times where I just want to paint. I just want to paint. I want to cut off everything and I just want to create. And I have to remember, I signed up for something more powerful. I'm the one that got on one knee and proposed, you know? I wanted this thing. And the first couple of years of our marriage were rough because I thought I had to be like Cliff Huxtable. I only knew fathers from TV. I didn't grow up with one. My cousins didn't grow up with one. I'm from that era where fathers wasn't quite fathers. And I promised that I'll never be that way. And so how do I be the father I dreamed of without the every 2-week paycheck? Because sometimes as an artist, I haven't sold a painting this week or last week. So you start figuring out like, damn, how do I do this as a father, as a husband with a mortgage? And mortgage went up, and you have to have that meeting with your spouse or your significant other. You have to talk about these things. I'm standing here before you today as a normal cat from the East Side with a dream to spread joy. And with that dream comes late nights, comes real talks with your spouse, comes public speaking where somehow I've become stage fright out of it. I used to rap and be on stage, and somehow being in front of people has made me kind of like, ugh. I've been in the back all I do is paint. You know, I paint and I create, and I just want to be in my studio. And sometimes that's a lonely process because I'm alone most of the time when I'm creating. So to stand here in front of you is like a lot of courage, a lot of, oh my God, I hope I'm doing all right. I don't want to miss a note. And you know, not only am I proud to be here today, I hope one person today leaves understanding like it's not about smiling all the time, because I drove myself crazy thinking that I had to do that. There was a time where I was kissing babies and shaking hands 24/7, afraid to hear someone to hear me cuss, afraid to show someone that I'm not smiling because I thought I had to live up to the smile man or the image I created, and that's not real. That's not real. We all go through things, and it's how we respond. And I've been very blessed to have a family that when I respond, they respond with me. We talk about it. One more point that I wanted to make sure I talked about today is narcolepsy. So I've had sleeping issues my whole life. When I talk to old high school friends or middle school friends that I haven't seen in a while, they would be very excited to know that I'm still making art. Like, oh man, I ain't seen you still making art, but that's all you did back in the day. You always was drawing some shit. But you was always asleep though. Like, you would just fall asleep in class, man, we didn't know if you was like, man, like this, get up, dog. And so in high school, I made a joke about it. I was still honor roll, 3.8, you know, I was still getting good grades, and so you would start, you know how when something is real serious, you would make jokes but not really address it? And so I would say stuff like, man, shit, I was asleep, but shit, I still got better grades than you. So, you know, I would like play with it. And then we've had like 5 sleep studies over the years. It was like, sleep apnea, okay. But they had all been misdiagnosed. My last sleep study, the doctor was overjoyed because my case is so rare. He couldn't believe that I was like the study that he studied in college. And he walked in the room like, we never get an actual study, dude. Like you're a real narcolepsy, dude. Like, with cataplexy. And I'm like, what is going on? And then it got real. It got real because over the last 20 years, I've gotten in a couple car accidents. And I know that this would have never happened without this illness or this disability. And so I don't drive much. I drove here today, I took my little meds and all, but I don't drive at night. I don't really go out much. But I brought that up to bring up the insomnia part. I never sleep. It comes with it. I take serial naps during the day. And so these are things that I'm working with, trying to be this father, trying to be present for art events that happen at night, and then trying to be present for your friends' events. It's like, dude, I'm not driving, though. I gotta catch an Uber, or, it's a little too late for me, bro. I'm gonna be home. I'll see you tomorrow, though. And they're like, what's up, bro? You always kind of like. I was like, man, I don't put myself behind the wheel no more if it's not needed. And I make sure I pick up my daughter, because that's like the main responsibility. I take her to school, I pick her up. And I started talking about narcolepsy more over the last few years because I realized I can't be the only person that deal with this. But it's a learning experience, and I'm trying to go to bed earlier. I am the average 4 a.m., 5 a.m. guy. I usually go to bed when my wife wakes up. That can cause friction, like, damn, babe, I would like you in the bed with me, I'm like, oh, I'm painting, babe. No, I paint at nighttime. I create at night. Once my family go to sleep, it's go time. Like if the house shuts down at 10 p.m., by 11, I'm painting. I got my little music on. But that 11 can go to 5 a.m. within seconds. And before you know it, my wife is in bed, like texting me, like, it's time to come upstairs. Like, it's time to go to bed. I'm like, oh shit, damn, that's right. Okay, let me wrap up. And then that wrap up may take, 30, 40 minutes. So I'm getting in bed when she's getting up. And so these are things that I'm working on as a parent, as a husband. Anyone out there who have a disability, understand that you gotta actually address it. You gotta bring it home and understand, talk to your spouse and talk to your family about it, make people aware around you, so you don't be like the oddball always falling asleep and they're like, man, this guy is always high, he's always drunk. They're like, no, I'm going through something, And so I wanted to talk about all that to let you know that the guy you're looking at today, I am 41. I probably haven't had like a clock-in job in probably 13 years. I figure it out. My wife figured it out with me. We are in this journey together. I'm going to continue painting. I'm going to continue making murals. There's more Smile brand clothing coming out. We took a few months off. This is a restructure. We got new books coming out. And the goal is to always inspire, to remember that humanity comes first. And I spend a lot of time smiling, but also understanding that smile, sometimes you need to take it in, Thank you guys for having me, and I really appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. We actually have some time for some questions, and so I want to open the floor. I can pass the mic around too. Yeah.
Oh, man. Got questions?
Phil.
Hello, good to see you.
I don't know where to go. I feel like people should see my face.
I got you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Phil.
Hello.
I have have been a long time fan of yours. We had the opportunity to work together some years ago. So my question is there an art gallery ever coming back?
Yeah, so oh my goodness, that was one of my key points. Totally jumped over that. So I have been honored and very privileged to run the Baltimore Gallery for 5 years. And during that time period, we got a chance to meet a lot of artists through great events, great parties, great art shows. And to answer your question, yes, my wife and I are working on a plan right now to turn so I have a studio in Midtown. But to be closer to my family, I changed my garage to my studio. Now I have my studio that I'm not really showing up too much. So we're going to transform it to a very intimate gallery space where it'll have like concept events, and we're working on that right now. So yes, that's a great question. Thank you. Yes.
All right.
We got a couple in the front. Wow.
All right. When I think about distinguishable murals by artists in the city of Detroit, I think of like Backpacker Durden, I think about Jada Cortez, and I think about Phil Simpson.
Wow.
And for those in the room who don't know you fully and they are getting to know you here in this space, and they may not have seen a mural around town, which mural would you say is the most iconic piece that wraps up your soul and your passion and the years of just your creative work and art that they should ride past, that they should know exists, and they should be able to be like, oh, that's Phil Simpson right there.
Okay. That's a great question. Okay. So right now, I probably have over 19 murals in the city, with the majority of those outdoor, right? We got a few indoor, but I am most proud of, I did a mural of my daughter Journey on the Vanguard building off the boulevard. Now, I hope I got a couple seconds to share with you why this is so important to me. I didn't think this would ever happen in my household, but you remember the study that was done in the 80s of a young black girl, and she was asked which doll is pretty, and she chose the white doll. I think it's important to talk about this because in my household where I married a beautiful black wife, we have a beautiful black 23-year-old. My youngest daughter, Journey, didn't think she was pretty. She didn't, and this is like 3 years old, 4 years old, and we didn't know where this was coming from. And we did everything we thought we would do as parents. We bought coloring books, and we bought more books to show natural hair and her skin tone. We started watching more African American published movies and cartoons, and it just wasn't getting across. And so we came up with the mantra every morning. I'm beautiful. And I said, I might need to show her more art, because if we go to the DIA every day, which we were, she didn't see herself. And if anyone paid attention to my art over the last few years, I started painting more brown children in my art. And it was primarily to show my daughter that she's not alone, that she's beautiful. And so when I painted her mural on the boulevard, this kid lit up. She's like, that's me. Like, I want to show people my mural. And I cried, I get emotional now because I needed her to see that you are beautiful the way you are. And I think that's my proudest moment, was painting my daughter life size, and she could see it. We look at the mural weekly. She always wanted to look at it, and so thank you for asking that. Yeah.
Where is it, the mural?
Vanguard building is the building my studio is in, so it's right off the boulevard in New Center, Milwaukee Junction area. It's 2791 East Grand Boulevard. Yep, but it's definitely a proud moment. But I love painting my family. I was in Neiman Marcus last year, forgot to say that, did a whole pop-up at Neiman Marcus, sold some artwork, sold my clothes, and I made it in my contract that Neiman Marcus had to buy my painting of my wife that I painted. So, in Neiman Marcus, there's a portrait of my wife hanging up, and I thought it was very important to have her, my queen, inside of Neiman Marcus. And I chose like the most expensive earring that Neiman Marcus carried. It was like $800. I can't afford it, but my painting can display it, you know, in a way where it belongs with my wife. So, it's, you know, I love painting my group, you know. So, yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you.
First of all, I was not trying to cry 3 different times while speaking.
Oh, wow.
So thank you. And then second of all, I feel like a lot of people in the room can resonate. As artists, art students, people that went to school for art, the business part was just skipped over. In my whole programming, there was one business class at the end.
Yeah.
And so what sort of resources could you share to know that part? Because you're not running a,
no, that's a great question.
Running a business.
So at 41, I'm still learning as well. But I have been very privileged to work with some great organizations in the city of Detroit. Like I mentioned, I call D-Hive or Detroit, D-Hive, oh my goodness. Yes, now it's Bill Institute, excuse me. It was D-Hive at one time. Now it's Bill Institute in Tech Town. I still reach out often. They give me tips on business. And, you know, I may have to ask people in the audience that question as well. Like, I'm still working with my business plan, tearing it up, redoing it, restructuring. As an artist, I have no clue what I'm doing on that end. I just know I can't wake up without creating, and I've been very blessed to find opportunities with that. And then, of course, I'm getting a little smarter as I go, but it has been a journey.
Yeah. Even you like adding that piece to your contract with Neiman Marcus, that's something I wouldn't think about. But that was like clutch, you know.
Yeah, no, that was some dope shit right there. Let me tell you. I walked inside Neiman Marcus for an event that was 95% people of color. And I walk around and I don't see any art that represents us. And so I said, who can I speak to that's in charge? Previously just ran a gallery. Even if you don't want to carry my work, I would love to introduce you to local artists. I believe that we can transform your store and not turn it into a gallery, but definitely represent more people of your audience that's shopping here. And fast forward, they reach back out and say, hey, you know what, we thought about it. We actually would love to start with you painting live at one of the events. Cool. So what do I paint? The contract said, whatever I paint, you're buying, right? We already agreed on that. What do I want to be in your store forever? Even if you move it around, what is gonna make me proud to represent? And the cool story, I wish my wife was here. We sat next to each other on the couch thinking about which black women to paint. Think about this. I'm like, man, I don't really want to paint like celebrity but who can I paint with natural hair? And I really want to talk about like a black, strong woman. And like 30 minutes go by. And then I look at her and I'm like, fuck, I'm painting you. And she's like, no, don't. I was like, no, it's fine. I'm painting you. There's a portrait of you that you took when you was pregnant. I think you were glowing. I want to paint you. And she kind of like, okay. And she woke up the next morning, but once again, I had stayed up all night. And she's like, oh shit, like you really did it. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna love this, you know. And yeah, so I painted my wife and we hung it up, and you can imagine I got cool points for that. Yeah. I don't know if there's any more questions, but once again, I want to say thank you so much. Some of the individuals that walked up to me, that spoke to me before we did the thank you, I look forward to having small conversations. I'm always about passing out my information. I look forward to keeping in touch with people. I'm really in a part of my life where I want to grow my network. I want to grow my audience. And yeah, I want my kids to be around cool people. And so yeah, if you're one of those cool people, you know, let's connect. And I look forward to building a relationship with this space here. I see a lot of art on the wall, so we're going to make sure some of my smiles get on here. I'm putting that out there, and so we're going to make that happen. And to you guys, just keep smiling, keep treating each other with kindness. If you're creative, if you're a writer, a videographer, or you go to work, whatever you do, you put your best foot forward, you know. Yeah, make it happen. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. There's more. Bring it again. Do it again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you very much. Yes.
The weekend to start our
Yeah.
birthday. Appreciate it. So.
Oh, wait. Just please. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, I come from MCing and all of the rap days and high school talent shows and also. I'm very comfortable with the microphone. Just want to talk about good guys, right? I'm a good guy, you know? I live to be a good guy, and coming from Detroit, you know, we have the bad boys, and I was like, man, I could never really, it wasn't my, you know, we promoted this bad energy, and I'm like, that's not my vibe. What can I do with Smile where I can have my own team and my own mascot, and I got the Smile Man head, and it came up with good guys, but we got good girls and we got good kids, so just stay tuned for that. Yeah. Just wanted to talk about that. Yep.
Do you have any merch on you today for sale?
No. But thesmilebrand.com has everything available. I have artwork and clothes. Thesmilebrand.com. Check it out. And we usually ship in about 4 days or so. So, yeah. Thank you very much.